folks, this is Marji Roy at 3dcuts.com, and today I'm putting together the tutorial on how to assemble my American Gothic house for Tea Light Village. This house is styled after the very famous house in Grant Wood's American Gothic painting. It is a farmhouse with a wing off the side, and let's get started. First, I had cut all of the pieces out on my cutting machine. I had adhered them to an old mat just to keep the small pieces together so I wouldn't lose them. We're going to start by building the house. It has a couple of main pieces here. It also came with a wishing well. We'll work on that later. Here are all the pieces for the building. You need to pay attention to the orientation of these two. See how I have them laid out here? The Gothic window is to the right side, the door is to the right side. That is correct. If you get one of these flipped over, you will have a problem with assembly. I'm telling you that because I did it. But you are going to, if you do them this way, you'll be fine. The first thing I'm going to do is fold these because once they're folded, I won't make the mistake. So everything gets folded away from me. There are dotted fold lines throughout each of these, and you are to fold every one of those lines. I use a dotted fold line because it's the best solution for my cutting machine and my software. If you want, you can change them to score lines if that's what your machine uses. Let's see, do I have them all? I do on that one, and on this one, I'm going to again make sure that these go away from me. And once that's done, I'll be set. Okay, I have folded all of the seams. Step one is to put wax paper on the inside of all of the windows. I do like putting lights in my windows, inside my tea light houses, and they shine a little too brightly, so this diffuses them and makes it much softer visually. This is just plain kitchen wax paper. You can also use vellum or any other translucent paper that you might have. There's nothing critical about the choice. And then I just take an X-Acto knife and lightly run around here and peel off the excess. I am going to cover all of the windows on both of these two pieces using that same technique. There, all my windows now have wax paper in them. We will start by assembling the larger piece first, and this tab will go around to the other end. So I will take art glitter glue and I will put it here. I often use score tape when I assemble these, and you can if you'd like. This is my first time trying it with art glitter glue, and I kind of liked how it worked because I got to reposition things. And it didn't take long for it to set. But on each seam, you do have to hold it for about 4 seconds in order for it to set. The next seam that I will glue is, I will start adhering the roof. And so on the two panels that are closest to the roof, the two tabs that are closest to the roof, I will put art glitter glue. I have put the art glitter glue into this little container that has a tiny metal tip, which is wonderful for fine gluing details. I got those on Amazon, and there is a link at my website if you want to do the same. Line those up with the edge and press just for a few seconds to hold it in place. Then we will do the same on the other side with the other two tabs for the roof. Also put glue on this tab at the end of the roof. That will tuck in behind the wall, all in this move. So it goes down, that tucks in. I squeeze that behind the wall, and I push this down into place, being sure to press everything to make sure that it is well adhered. Okay, that's the main part of the house. Now we'll put together the little wing which will get attached. This goes in a very similar fashion. The tab at the end gets glued around on the inside of the other end. So we will put glue on this tab. We will wrap it around, match up the bottoms and the edge there, and then squeeze for about 4 seconds. Now on this one, the roof does overhang here. Don't worry about that. We will do the 2 tabs that are closest to the roof first to start gluing the roof in place. Bring that down and line up this front seam here. The back seam, you don't have anything to line up, so just let it fall where it naturally falls, trying to make it straight. Now I'm going to do the 2 seams and the little tab here and tuck that in. Reaching down inside there to make sure everything is glued in place. Squeezing. Okay, these 2 tabs are overlapping and I don't like that. I am going to slice those back a little bit. Hopefully I'll remember to take those off in the pattern. No promises. There, now they don't overlap. Okay, this will get attached here, but not until we've put the roof on. On the roof, I have the side with the Gothic window toward me. See, that doesn't have the upper window. This one does. I will fold it so this is on the left side. Fold it down like that. It will go on like this, okay? This one here gets folded up a little bit, and there is a tiny little tab on the porch roof there that needs to get folded down. On this one, I will put the glue onto the roof. I will put it on all the edges and some in the center. And I will do the same on the other side. Okay, let's make sure we've got this right. Rose window here, flap on my left. I will put that on. And I want it to be centered, eyeball center, front to back here. Press it all into place with my 4-second press. The house now has its roof. Next, we add the porch roof. This little piece has a tab which folds down. That'll go against the building. Then we have a long tab on this side and a tiny tab on that side. They all get folded in the same direction. Now, as I put this on, it is going to be placed right here at the bottom of the roof line in a straight line underneath this window. I'm only going to put glue on this long skinny tab to begin with. I am then going to position that, working hard to make it so that it is parallel to the base of the building. This is a little hard for me to reach, so I'm going to use my tweezers to make sure that that gets well adhered. Okay, on this side here, there is a long tab. It's going to tuck underneath. I am going to apply glue to the tab. I'm going to tuck it under the other porch roof and hold it for the 4 seconds while it gets adhered. Now you can see it's a little long, so just snip that off. And I can see that this is separating over here, so I'm going to go back and press that in place again. Press that in place. And this tiny little tab at this end, I'm going to fold that down and put just a tiny dab of glue on that. And that is going to get folded back onto the underside of the roof over here. Squeeze that to hold it in place. Okay, now our porch is in place, our porch roof is in place. It is now time to adhere the L onto the side of the house. I will put glue onto both of these tabs and on this entire rectangle surface here. This piece will fit right against this porch roof here. That's the seam that is important. Then I will match up the bottoms and I will squeeze to adhere. The roof for this wing gets folded in half and it will get tucked in that space in there. I will put glue on the roof here. And I will take this and I will slide it in between that porch roof and this roof, right in up against the roof of the main building. Do all my little presses. And there is a little tab here that if I can get some glue on and squeeze in place, it'll help hold things in position. So I've put glue there. I'm going to push that down and I'm going to squeeze. And there we go. We now have our American Gothic house complete. We need to go on and make the wishing well. Let's get started on that. Okay, now let's make the wishing well. This is a charming little detail to add to your village. This is where things get quite fiddly. Tweezers are really quite necessary. We will start with the base of the wishing well. All of these parts get folded up, and on each one there is a side tab that gets folded in and a top outside tab that gets folded back. So they go in opposite directions, in and back. In and back. Okay, those are all in place. I will now take my glue and working on a couple of these at a time. I will put a little bit, that was backwards, of art glitter glue on both of those. Bring them up and hold them for a second while the glue adheres. Take my tweezers. You don't want it to flare out. You want to keep them straight and square. Do a couple more. Again, take the tweezers and squeeze to adhere. Squeeze to adhere. There we go. That's the beginning of the base of the wishing well. Now you can turn it upside down and this octagon will fit right over that and slide into place. First, put glue onto each of these tabs. This is the bottom of a tab. Then take one of the octagons and slide it over the base and right up to those tabs and adhere in place. Take the other octagon piece. Excuse me, these are not octagons, they're hexagons. Put glue on the top, and this is just a cover to hide all of those tabs and to give the rim of the wishing well a little more strength. Now we have 2 posts. These are the rectangles that are filled with dotted lines. You need to fold on all of those dotted lines. These are vertical folds, and these will make 2 posts for the side of our wishing well. Okay, see how that post is? I'm going to open it up, and on the tiniest side, one of the edge seams, I'm going to put a line of glue. I'm going to tuck that in under the other side. And I'm going to take my tweezers and squeeze them together to get that to glue. And I have made a very strong little post. And I'm going to repeat that with the other side. Okay, my 2 posts are complete. This is the post bracket on the top. There are 2 dotted lines on that as well. You fold both of those in the same direction. And we put glue along the inside of each end of this piece. One post will get glued there, and one will get glued there. They get aligned with the first dotted line, and you want to try and keep this distance the same between the 2 of them all the way down. This gets wrapped over the top, like so. See my distance? These are parallel, and that's holding them in position here at the top. We are going to put that to the side and let it dry while we work on making the bucket. The bucket, this will become the handle, and this is the base of the bucket. It's a square bucket. The 4 little side tabs get folded up toward me. Like so, and then each of these sides gets folded up toward the center. And I'm going to take glue and I'm going to put it on each of the little side tabs. Just a tiny little bit. And working with my tweezers, I'm going to get the first corner in place. And hold. And then the second one, and hold. And then the third one, and hold. Takes about 4 seconds or so for the glue. And get that little tabby on the inside. And I have to go back again and hit that third one again. And then the fourth one. Okay, there's the bottom of my bucket. Now I'm going to take something round and carefully curl these in. And I'm going to run glue almost the whole length of one of them. And I'm going to bring the other one, get that to go down, and this to go over. And they align one on top of the other, making a double handle. Once they're lined up, take the tweezers and squeeze that together back and forth. And again, make sure that all your corners are staying together. And we can set that aside to let it dry for a little while. We can now go back to the posts. For this, I'm going to use hot glue. I have tried other solutions and hot glue seems to be the best. So let me get my glue gun. I am going to take hot glue and I'm going to put a fairly good sized glob on the bottom 1/4 inch of both of these posts and on the bottom. And then I'm going to take it and stick it into the well and hold it there just for a few seconds. My goal is that it be straight up and down, like so, adhered to the two sides. And because hot glue does dry so quickly, that's a great adhesive to use. Now you will notice there's a tiny little hole in this side bracket, or top bracket here. If you don't see a hole, you can take a needle and make one. But I am going to take a piece of just regular thread here, thread the needle, and put it through that hole. This is going to hold up the bucket. It is going to go through one layer, then through the bucket, then through the other layer. This is so the bucket will hang in the middle. See that? Okay, I'm going to bring up my 2 strings. See how it goes through the bucket in the middle there? I don't want the bucket too high, then you won't see it. It'll be up in the roof, which will get applied next. So I'm going to lightly tie this knot so the bucket is hanging, but not too high. Double it up. Snip the strings close. And I am going to put just a dab of hot glue to hold that in place. That'll be out of sight. There we go. Put that to the side and we're going to make the top of the wishing well. This little t-shirt shaped piece gets folded. All tabs get folded in the same direction, all fold lines, and it'll make a little roof. Take my art glitter glue, put it on the 2 tabs here, fold this down, squeeze and hold. Now I will take glue and I will put it on the top of this, especially paying attention to the edges of it, and a little bit on each side, there and there. This will get put on top here, and held in place while that glue gets tacky. Again, you want to pay attention to keeping things square. This is the roof for on top. I fold it in half. I put glue on the top of the wishing well. I put the roof on. Wait a few seconds while it adheres. And there we go. I can't show it. A charming little wishing well to go in your tea light village. Place that to the side and let the glue set. It also came with a tree. I include these trees with a lot of the tea light villages because I really think that they add a lot to the village. They all go together the same way. There's a double dotted line up the center. You fold on both of them towards you. You can take a piece of 1/8" score tape and run it down the outside of this if you want. On this one, because I'm using art glitter glue, I'll do that the same with the pine tree. There we go. We will run a line of glue up the spine there. We will put these two together, making sure the bases line up. Take my tweezers and press them together and let that dry before I fluff them out and make them three-dimensional. You have now completed all of the parts of the American Gothic farmhouse for your tea light village. It included the wishing well, the house, and the tree. You can add them to the rest of the pieces of your tea light village from 3dcuts.com. How many buildings do you have? Have you made them all yet? As of 2019, there are 17 different tiny buildings and a slew of accessories, including the hexagon bases for display. All are available at 3dcuts.com/t-light-village. Happy crafting, everyone, and thanks for watching.